Pocket Negroni. And welcome back to the Off the Clock Show. Joined again with Shawn from OrbisX CRM and Marshall Hill from Pints of Polisher Podcast, as well as hyperClean car care products. That's right, for all your car care needs.
What were you doing? Pocket what?
So my Pocket Negroni. So I bought this the other day. They had a bunch of them as an upsell. Yeah, and I know it's an adorable little can. Tiny little can. But it's everything you need. It's got the perfect mixture, perfect ratios, 21.8% alcohol, Negroni cocktail by White Box. And branding was nice, simple, clean, clear, And
What's the little dude?
Yeah. He's the adult version of the Kool-Aid Man.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like right on, man. Good for them. And I like it. Very simple. How to serve, boom. Full strength classic cocktails. They had a bunch of different types there, and they were assessing people's purchase patterns and then suggesting, certain things. So I was actually buying the ingredients for. Yeah, that was the hook. Yeah. Oh man. But you know what? When something like that happens, I always buy it because number one, I feel like if I'm part of that experience, I'll remember those things later, and it'll be like, oh, I remember that story. I can pass that on to the staff and be like, hey guys, this is what we're doing for an upsell, boom, 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 something simple, quick, easy, and then I tell them that story so it locks it in. But the second thing is, it's kind of my way of like tipping the hat, where it's like, well done, guys, well done, you got me,
I want to be a part,
I want to be a part of it. It's fun, Absolutely. But that's the perfect kind of upsell where you don't feel like you got taken. I wasn't like sold just. Like,
all right, I think let's get to this right here where you do that. Then we'll know if you got taken.
Okay. All right. So
was it good?
Delicious. Yeah. Absolutely.
So you weren't taken, right? Here's the part about upsells, and here's the part about that moment.
Yeah.
You can't upsell them BS.
That's true. Yeah.
You gotta give them something good, right? Mm-hmm. Like you can't. You just can't do it. And I don't. I guess you go. Well, what do you mean? All right. We'll talk about somebody later, but even he has been marketed to, and they're pitching, hey, you want to make sure you upsell this because we'll put it on to? It used to be called Carfox.
Yeah.
They changed the name to Carfax, but still leave the Fox on there. Few people can ever remember when they used to market as Carfox, but they are Carfax.
Like sneaky and like mischievous and liars and stuff. Yeah. It was like, ooh.
You even saw a guy recently that we'll underhandedly joke about, but also go, is what it is. A guy that used to push, hey, make sure you use our coatings because they are Carfaxed. Recently left his quote-unquote business that we thought he was a part of, and now is a salesman for another business. Good for him. Glad he's still in the industry. Looks like a great fit, great transition, wonderful human being, right? All that stuff. But you go, hey, really, really leaned on Carfax, really leaned on something to push people to stop using the product they were using. And the upsell, right, the extra to them was, hey, we're going to put it on Carfax for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you go look at a Carfax, it says like service added, right? Like protection or something, right? It means nothing. And we realize that Carfax itself is just this enigma.
Yeah, it's true. Most times they rewrite it to like vehicle serviced or something. They don't like brand names mentioned. They don't like warranty claims. That's for sure. Don't mention warranty, nothing. So when you put years, like 9 years or something, they'll rewrite that because they're like, no, we don't want, because they don't want to get wrapped up in that where it doesn't live up to the 9-year mark, and then now all of a sudden they're involved somehow. So they're like, no. They do not like that. I work with them directly for the integration with OrbisX. And so it is important for us to report because not everybody that uses OrbisX is in detailing. We have a lot. I mean, hey, if it's important for detailers, sure, use it. But we have a lot of mechanics that use the software as well. And for them, those do make a difference when they're doing oil changes, things like that. That kind of stuff does make a difference for them because it shows. That's more, showing the vehicle history and how.
I would think having your car regularly cleaned and shown on the Carfax would mean very important to somebody that goes, hey, I want to buy this car.
Yeah,
I'll say
look at
that.
this
The
meticulous
same as it
detail.
shows all the oil changes, all the service, like show the amount of times you clean your car. Hell yeah, I'm in.
That makes
That's
sense.
some value there. But
Yeah,
they didn't go that way, right? Like, so the upsell really didn't mean anything.
it's
Whereas
true.
here, the upsold meant, wait, I can now enjoy this and it's good.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
oh,
And that's where it feels good. And then next time, it actually doesn't become an upsell. It becomes part of what I ask for with my regular service. And so now I'm getting my regular service plus that new service that was upsold to me last time, plus whatever else you're going to pitch me that time. And I'm more open to it because I'm like, oh, last time you pitched something to me, I was receptive, I enjoyed it, I had a good experience. So that's why at our shop we always start with something small initially, just get them to say yes to an add-on for something, and then we hit them with something else and something else. I find a lot of guys that aren't doing so well, they try and go straight in. They're like, oh, the guy comes in for a $250 detail, straight away they're like, would you like to add a $4,000 PPF to that? And the guy's like, whoa, hold on, let's just wait, just a second here. But sure, you'll get a percentage that say yes, no problem. But
I bet you Luna already has like some options, right? Like if this is your package, here's a good add-on to suggest, right? Like
100%.
here's your detail, exterior detail stack applied in 15 to 20 minutes is a great add-on, right? Like that was what I used to do with add-ons. I didn't hit them with a big point. I gave them something that would give them something of extreme value and was really quick for me to apply because I knew I'd see that customer again and I wanted to continue that service. I would love a $50 stack. Yeah. Like you only have $100 invested in the product. You're going to get probably 10 cars. So
yeah. That's
I mean,
a picture
do
perfect.
two and your bottle's paid for, the rest does gravy, and you go, I'm not doing that. Okay, 75, 100. Like, you don't need much for 20 minutes. 30 minutes if you're lazy.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Right? Like, that's the time to do it. Let's not venture too far off into that because we did want to say something in the front of an experience that you had, an experience that you and I have always valued community. Right? We always have. Community is when you have somebody that goes through something traumatic, you got to do what you can to help out, to take care of, to be a part of them growing. We're going to talk about a guy that started purchasing from me, as we said off, in a sense, a little ago off air of what it was like for me to just be a guy from Oklahoma trying to go out and create a national awareness. That started, the first episode, if you go back, was, I believe it was August, ish of 2017, as my daughters were getting their teeth examined before they were about to leave to go live in California. Like go live a move away from, Florida. No, they started in California, then they moved to Florida, then they went back to, whatever. It's been a bit. But so this was the time that I was about to lose my daughters. And we were in the dentist office, and I just go, I'm sitting there, I'm waiting. I go, I got to do something. I go, let me just pick up my phone and start an episode. I didn't even know what to talk about. I didn't know what to do, so I just started talking. Let's see, 3, 4, so 6 to 7 months later, this guy makes his first purchase with me. Jeez. And it was a bottle of what we used to call Y-Wax. It was so easy to use. Why would you wax your car? You could use a ceramic coating, right? The later predecessor and what, in a sense, what Stack has kind of come out of and evolved. Not the same product, but it's evolved out of that idea. Like, how do we get ceramic coating protection on a car very quickly, right? Mm-hmm. So he bought that, and he bought what we were doing, these bags of chemical, right? SIX. And he bought one of those, an interior, which the predecessor and what it is now today, we still have the concentrates, and our APC is the basically that birth child that comes from those original ultra concentrates that we would sell. $25, you would get 5 gallons of a product that was still concentrated, because we would send it to you in a tied type bag. And so, he bought the that, and then let's see, around those sale times as we started going, I would do hey, get this and this. You could get Y-Wax and then a free bag. So imagine for like $50, you get basically the same. I think that one was like 6 uses of ceramic plus soap for like $50. I mean, it was.
That's wild. Yeah,
it was because I was trying, because where I came from, what I was trying to do is go, hey, if I know my pricing is below others and I can deliver something, you got to go price. You do. And so I was trying to hammer the market on price. We know detailers love a great price, right?
Absolutely.
He was one of the very first people that bought, and then bought regularly. And then when Nick came on, him and Nick had some moments where they got to have some really, really great conversations. Tyler's just one of those guys, man, that, as Nick calls him, salt of the earth. He's one of those just genuine people that we say one of the reasons why you should buy from a brand and stick with a brand. This is this is part of that reason, right? Yeah. Part of it is, as you and I had these discussions with a YouTuber who couldn't have a philosophy on a chemical company, right? Like, he didn't know how chemicals really made it for a detailer, or how that relationship should work. I've always valued my relationship when I was a detailer with my chemical supplier. I always valued that. They were my lifeline. Like, what? Right. I have to have a good communication with them. So that's why we've built a community. That's why we love people like Tyler. And that's why he gets this moment out of a disaster. We're doing everything we can to bring some aid his way. We do everything we can to get awareness to him, to provide, financial resources. Not only Nick and I have done it, but then we're allowing the community to be involved with helping this kid and his family that their house has been destroyed. They were in a bathtub as it went over. They walked out to he's saying neighbors' arms are in trees. Body parts are scattered across. Like, he's one of the only people that survived. Like,
that's nuts. Yeah.
The picture that he showed, the house is gone.
Yeah,
Now, when I went through a tornado, and I'll let you share your story. Sure. I was in Arkansas. I tried to go hunt the tornado, me and a guy named Scott Edge, and we turned right to go up a hill to go try and look at it. And if we would have gone left, we would have hit it. Oh. And it was an F5. And there's an interesting part, right? Like, I bought this beer from here in Oklahoma. It's called F5. We almost left-hand turned right into an F5 tornado. This went through Arkadelphia, Arkansas. Bill Clinton was the president. Came in. I was there helping people clean up their houses. I mean, like Wesley, other people that have this tornado alley. If it ain't you, you go help the people that got hurt, because you're just thankful that it wasn't you. And
100%.
We were helping people, get stuff out. Bill Clinton flew in and shook all of our hands. That was wild. Like, Secret Service with snipers. They're like, no sudden movements. Get your hands out of your pockets. No sudden movements. He walked up to me, thank you for your service. And I was like, thank you.
Yeah, no sudden movements. Jesus. Yeah. I'm not trying to get killed over a handshake.
I voted for Bush.
Yeah. So did he in the Oval Office. But no, sorry. Everyone loves a good Lewinsky joke. But oh boy. Man, no, that's crazy. And thoughts and prayers to all the relatives and family members. That's natural disasters are one of those things where it's one thing if we've all had friends and family that go through something where it's like a self-induced, like a guy that's got a gambling problem or alcoholism or something like that. But when it's something like natural disaster, it's like there's almost nothing you can do to escape it, and it's not your fault at all. It just hits. and the damage is huge. So man, man,
Share your story because you shared me the photos.
yeah. Did you see the video too, or did it not come through?
It didn't come through
Oh shoot,
because
I
it was a
thought.
live, so
Okay.
it didn't want to. It really.
Yeah, I think the
Maybe I
size
didn't wait
too.
long enough for it to buffer,
Oh,
but
fair. The size too.
30 to
It
40
wasn't.
seconds is about,
Yeah, yeah.
about all I've got these days.
Yeah, fair, fair, fair. I think the file size maybe I'll upload it and then send it to you through like YouTube or something. But yeah, so we went through a tornado as well. That's why instantly when you sent me the video or the photos and stuff and told me what happened, instantly my heart went out for him because like I know what it's like to go through a tornado that destroys your house. And so we went through a tornado. We had just it's funny we left the Caribbean because we were like a lot of hurricanes this that and we were like let's go back. We miss family. This rock is boring. So anyway, we come back to Canada, and it's funny. We went through I don't know 4 hurricanes. I think no problems. The house down there was fine. We come back here, and then within a couple months, tornado comes and destroys the house. I'm like, what are the odds of that? Like seriously, But it touched down on our street, and there was I think that day 4 tornadoes because we're kind of in a valley. We're in between these tiny little mountain ranges. And anyway, it's just we get really high winds. We get these things usually called derechos, where the wind comes through. It's super powerful, one windstorm after the next, and they take down power lines and all kinds of stuff. But we often get tornadoes. Well, we always laugh about it because they say, "Oh yeah, there's a tornado warning," and they send out the SOS system on our phones and all that. And then they show the video footage the next day, and there's a tiny like 3 foot by 3 foot little tornado going down the river. It's nothing serious, and so we all like ha ha, yeah, tornado warning. This one, we got the notice on our phones, and we had 10 minutes. So it had it was hopping. So it came in and it landed in one area, and that's when they sent out the notice because it wiped out something like 200 homes, and then it hopped. And when it hopped, it landed on our street. And so prior to that, the kids were outside playing, and we saw swirls of wind that seemed kind of strange. There's something eerie about it. I was like, this is a little stronger than normal. And so we said, you know what, kids, let's start to get inside. Middle of the afternoon, bright, sunny. And then all of a sudden it started to get really dark really fast. So we pulled the kids inside and we're sitting there. I was doing some work on the computer and I'm looking out and we had this massive maple tree. Huge, huge, huge maple tree. 50, 60 years old, big, thick trunk on it. And it starts swaying. And I was like, I don't know, man. Like I used to hang a punching bag outside on one of the branches. This tree was solid. And it starts bending forward, and then it goes back, and then bending forward. I was like, this is not good. So I couldn't really get words out, and I was like, oh shit, oh shit. I was like, babe, babe, babe. She gets up, she looks out the window. Instantly, she grabbed the kid's hands, she starts to run. As soon as we made it downstairs into the bathroom, we just heard a big bunch of crashes. Everything was going hectic. Tree went through one of the windows. The glass, I was worried that it started spinning around. I thought it was going to come into the bathroom and we just get like torn up with shards of glass. So I said, guys, I gotta go close that window or close the door in the bedroom. They were like, no, don't go. So I said, well, I gotta do it. So I said, just stay here. So I went quickly, crawled over, closed the door. And then as soon as I closed it, we heard a big bang. And that's when that maple tree went right through the window. So I went back to the bedroom or the bathroom. The 4 of us huddled up in the bathroom. Our daughter, youngest one at the time, I think she was maybe 3, maybe around there. And then our eldest, she was 8, something like that. Anyway, man, 45 seconds went by of absolute silence. It was just deathly quiet. We could hear each other breathe, and we were just going through it. We were just like, just like that. It was the wildest thing ever. Then it passed. We went upstairs. And I looked and I was like, oh man, I got to replace that window. Like, what's that going to cost? That was the only damage I thought that had happened. I thought it was just a crazy windstorm. And I'm like, oh man, I got to fix a window. I'm all bummed out. I go outside. There's fucking trees everywhere. Cars flipped over. There's my barbecue was in the middle of the yard, but the tank was gone. I'm like, what the hell? So anyway, I go walk out to the road, check the car. I'm like, okay, the car's fine. I turn around, look at the house. The whole roof is gone. And I'm like, oh, I was worried about a tiny little window. And I look up, the whole roof is gone. I was like, man. So I went upstairs. The crazy thing is, a few days before, we had hermit crabs. And a few days before, they were acting really weird. They were making these weird sounds. They were burying themselves like crazy. And we're like, man, the hermit crabs are going nuts. I thought they were getting ready for like mating season or something. They were saved only because their air conditioner in my daughter's room got pushed, but it got stuck on the end of the bed. If not, it would have smashed the whole tank. But I looked in their room when I went there. First off, I could look up and just see the sky. That was a weird feeling to look up and just see clouds. I could hear the alarm that we had in their room for the windows. It was going off because half of the window was gone. Anyway, their room, it was covered in leaves from the tree. It looked like someone had wallpapered the whole, like a forest inside the room. It was nuts. But yeah, it was crazy. The sad part is, that night though, we stayed at the house, but we sent the kids away. We stayed at the house to protect it because people were already going around looting people's house. It's like, fuck, man, you guys are the worst scum of the earth, terrible human beings. Like, what the fuck? Like, these people just lost their families, everything. But fast forward, I had to fight with the insurance company for 2 years, and they, in the end, only wrote us a check for 50%. They said the rest of it was deemed cosmetic upgrades, like the roof, because that's a cosmetic upgrade, right?
I'm glad you brought that up because that's where we really go as a community. How can we help out? So what we've done is go on to hypercleanstore.com. This week you're going to get 10% off. Use code Tyler, and then you're going to get 10% donated to him. Now, we've had some people already reach out and go, hey, what if we want to just donate straight to him? We go, yeah, it sounds great, doesn't it? Let's think about something for a second. He's a business. There's this thing called the IRS.
Yeah.
So there are some implications. There's some things we have to follow, some processes to make sure he's okay. He can't just be getting a ton of stuff. He can't get that. All right, we've got to be able to show it as a donation. Okay, so.
They've even seen, to touch on that, they've even seen, there's been cases where people do the GoFundMe thing, and then all of a sudden it counts as revenue, and it opens
and
up.
GoFundMe takes a percentage on their own, right?
True. Yeah.
So we're trying to take care of our own. And whatever comes up to the total of the donation, Nick and I and the team here at hyperClean, we're going to match it, all right? So whatever you guys donate off of 10%, then we're going to match. Now, Nick's already given. I've already given to him. Shawn, you've already said, hey, how can I get, so we're going to make sure as much of us that can will. And you go, okay, maybe I'm somebody that can't just give, to them. Hey, you need some sprays. There's Memorial Day. It's coming up. You're generally going to buy some stuff then anyway. This is the time to now focus in and help somebody. As well as you getting a good deal and getting some great products, that also you're going to be donating to him, right? And it's going to be doubled.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, like you've already said, how can I help? You got to understand, you got some people here that are wanting to help out. This is your way to be a part.
100%. And man, being someone that's gone through it, trust me, the community side of things, because I brought up the insurance community. Yeah, I brought up the insurance because a lot of people think like, oh, well, it's going to be covered by insurance. And it's not. The reason it's so important for people to come together in the community is for that exact reason. So here we had the Red Cross go around. They were really helpful for a lot of people. They helped out with groceries, things like that. Because we were without power, so a lot of people, like their whole fridge, everything was gone, right? We were without power for quite some time. Like it took a while. Our neighborhood, the police didn't come for 3 weeks in our neighborhood. And the firefighters came 24 hours after because there was gas lines and they were worried about leaks and stuff like that. But after they left, that was it. Nobody came. Yeah, nobody came. It made the news. Obviously, it was a big deal. It struck the whole city. Nation's capital, obviously, is going to make the news. Made the news, but nobody came. Military, nothing. Nobody came for weeks. It was crazy. It was insane. There was people that entire houses just leveled. They even found one guy. He was a hiker. They found him. He was hiking somewhere, and they had him on his GPS thing, and he bounced from there. Something like 52 miles away or something like that. They found him alive, which is crazy, but badly damaged, obviously, broken bones, you name it. But he got pulled over there, and the main reason that they were able to find him was in the same field that he landed. There was a for sale sign that a farmer had found for a house that was for sale on the other end of the city. And he called the realtor and he said, "Hey, I found this sign in my thing." And the guy said, "That's from this neighborhood. A wife was looking for her husband who was out hiking that day or jogging or whatever the hell he was doing." And so they put the pieces together that if the sign ended up there, maybe this guy's out there. Like, he was nuts.
And he was just laying there for what,
just
days?
laying there for days. Yeah, like, yeah, man, it was bad. And so, but the community coming together, that's what really helped us, because the government let us down then. Red Cross, everything. Actually, the Red Cross, they did an article on our family talking about it, because I asked them, I said, "Is there a way that we can give back once we get back on our feet and stuff like that? What you guys did, I saw what you did for a lot of the neighbors, helping them out with groceries, and we told them we're good. We don't need anything like that." Mainly because we were in a better financial position than a lot of our neighbors, and we said, it's better, because if we take from that pie, there's only so many pieces in that pie, right? And so it's better, no, give it to someone that really needs it. But then when this is all done, seeing the work effort they put in, I was like, let me know what I can give you, because whatever I can give you, I can write it off, first off, and I'd rather give it to what you guys are doing versus the government that wasn't there for us, And so I'm not saying it's going to be the case. Maybe the government and police, military, everything is going to show up for this guy in some way, shape, or form. But reality is, this falls on the village. This falls on the community, 100%. And we gotta help out. So guys, definitely, this is a win-win-win for everybody, ultimately. And OrbisX members, I'll be putting something out as well. We'll fine-tune some details of what we can do. And then there's going to be some ways you guys can, part of your membership, or if you're a new trial and you've got X amount of days left, now would be the time you could subscribe. And then, those initial funds, boom, we can send it right to the family. So there's going to be things we can do. I'll put that together and send it out formally as well for you guys. So, yeah, now's the time. You know what I mean? Because natural disasters are crazy. As I told you in chat, though, that same day, my office in the Caribbean got hit. Hurricane Category 5, and fucking destroyed everything. All our computers, everything. Flooding coming in. And the crazy thing is, we were on a bottom level, and there was a law firm above us. The law firm above us, they had something wrong with their flooring or something like that. And so we were actually protected, technically, because we were on the side of this mountain. But their office got hit, and then it started leaking down into our office and completely destroyed everything. But they're a law firm, so what are you going to do? Sue them? And they're going to clean your clock. So anyway, but it was same day. It was brutal. And I got to tell you, having the community on both sides, the community here in Ottawa and then the community as well in Grenada, having them help out was tremendous, because if not, the insurance company down there never paid out, for example. So it's like, we were on our own. You know what I mean? So my thoughts and prayers go out to his family and the family of, the people that didn't make it, unfortunately, and those that are going to be rebuilding. It's a tough time, man.
Yeah, his name is Tyler, so the code will be Tyler. And then, use that if you want your 10%. If even whatever is put through at the end, even if it wasn't used on that code, we're going to match it. So it's a great way of being a part, getting some stuff you need, and then being a part to help him. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting, a guy here that is leaving tornado country is leaving to go to, more of what you talked about, tropical storm country, right? Like from tornadoes to Florida.
That's an upgrade. Yeah. Jesus.
I talked to him recently, and it was like, I said, well, why there in Florida? He's somewhere, I don't remember the city, but it's somewhere down there by Naples, right? Down there on the Gulf side. I apologize, the Gulf side. I'm not sure if that's Gulf of Mexico side or Gulf of America side. I still haven't figured that out.
Yeah, I think it's all.
Isn't there some new thing, right, of changing the name to Gulf of America?
Jesus, they should just call it the Gulf. That's it. The Gulf. That's it.
But he chose that side, and he goes, you got to understand, around here there's 4 million people per city. Okay. Oklahoma doesn't have 4 million people.
Yeah. And there they were.
Okay, makes sense, man. Makes sense, right? Like,
That's fair. That's yeah. It's
going to change the tornadoes for monsoons and rain every day and hurricanes.
yeah.
I know Naples had a hurricane, what, year or so, year and a half, something
Yeah.
like
Oh
they
yeah.
had one recently too that wiped out a lot. So, it's an interesting transition for him. And he's a guy that he's. I was going to say the word pigeonhole, and I don't. I really apologize if I don't want to say pigeonhole. He's put himself in a place where he's defined his skill set to such a level that nobody can do it like he can. Wait, how many detailers just go, well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's me.
That's me. Yeah. Nobody can do it like I can do.
Nobody can do it like I can. My skills of detailing, they're
One
the
of a
best
kind.
around. Nobody
One of a
can
kind.
do it like I can.
Yeah. Yeah. I have this
Now,
thing I do with the brush where I.
yeah. Now you raise that stake to go, I'm going to do paint correction and become a paint correction specialist known in the area. Don't go to anybody else but this guy because, around here, his family and his dad worked at a dealership. His brother's owned a detail shop that he's worked for. His brother, so they've been around in our area for a long time. The dad, interesting. I've been watching on Netflix the new series about Osama bin Laden.
Oh, that popped up in my. That was a
Must
recommendation.
watch.
Yeah.
Must watch.
Okay.
It's still liberal media. Let's understand that. So a lot of those takes of Bush and the takes of the CIA and what went on back then, it's liberal media.
Fair. Okay.
But the interesting part about that time frame is there was people in business then. His dad was one of those that were in business. 9/11, people didn't get handouts.
Yeah.
Corona, everybody got handouts.
Everybody, it was like Oprah Winfrey.
So while he didn't make it and then went to go work at a dealership and then he stayed there for the rest of his career, his sons got to survive because the government gave handouts. But if the government didn't give handouts, probably they would have followed the same path, right? But they did, so they've been able to survive. Great for them. Had a good business through the main massive part of the growth, which I think was something you talked about recently. Like from after Corona, let's see, April, May, June, something through there. Then it just started taking off, right? Like people had more money they knew what to do with. Correction and coatings just exploded beyond anybody's wildest imaginations. And everybody was buying whatever they could because money was no option. They had so much money they didn't know what to do with except just buy whatever. So it was a massive influx, and they captured and did a wonderful job at it.
Yeah.
Now, 5 years in through it, now one of the brothers is going, hey, I want to move to Florida, and I want to make a name for myself as correction.
All right.
Let's
Specialist.
start there.
All right.
Start there because the next part goes into, well, how are you going to get your customers?
Yeah.
So, as dyslexic as I am, that's why I want to start at one place, but I want to know where we're going to end.
All right. Fair.
We're going to end with the guy doesn't know how to get customers, but he wants to go to another state with a skill set that 1% of people might actually purchase. Okay, no worries there too, because there's 4 million people, so 1% of 4 million is still plenty.
Still decent. Yeah, that's true.
Still plenty, so I'm not gonna hate. I'm just gonna define it out so we understand what it's gonna take to get there.
Yeah.
Should you, if you're gonna start a business, Shawn, we'll just start there. What should you start with? Is that, and maybe this is where some people go, well, yeah, he's defined a skill. He's spent so many years this is, and I'm not going to argue, like, this isn't an argument type of episode. This is just a, hey, let's all have a discussion around what this guy's doing and see if it's viable, and then see how he could get customers, and maybe that gives some people some ideas of the way they can go and hit an area, right?
Yeah. So, if I could say something to that point, is that, or to kick off the argument, I guess, or debate, my old business mentor.
Discussion.
Discussion. There we go. Discussion. I like that. Discussion. Yeah.
Interesting discussion.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah. It's funny, I never think discussion too, because like in Spanish, like words for like conversation and discuss and stuff like that, they have very different meanings. Like it means argue, so it's like it's very different. So that's where, but yeah. So this discussion, my old business mentor told me, if you sell buttons, find someone that installs elevators. He used to say it to me all the time, because I would come up with like, oh hey, we got this business going on, we should get into this or get into that. And what he was trying to tell me is that sometimes the things I was suggesting were a middle stage cycle product or service, where, for example, if you're a detailer, you will likely do paint correction as part of something, right? But the cycle isn't going to start necessarily at someone's calling you up and saying, yeah, I just want to get some paint correction. That's it. It's usually going to be they're coming in for a detail, and then as part of that, and look at these swirl marks or whatever the case is, or you want to get a coating done or something, we're going to do this first. Different things like that. That's usually where that discussion starts, or at our shop, for example, if we're doing PPF, that's where that discussion is going to start. Hey, before we cover this up, you might want to, do at least one step, something like that, right? So becoming just hyper-focused on that can sometimes be problematic. So it's the same kind of thing as in this case, I think he's going to be selling buttons. So you can still do that. You can still sell buttons, but no one's calling you up to buy buttons. They want the elevator. They want the whole thing. So that's where, if you only want to do that one part, a way to do that would be finding places that either have staff that aren't capable, or it takes them too long, and now you're pitching not to the customer, you're pitching
More
to the
B2B.
business. B2B, exactly. Which does reduce your pool, though, right?
But could give you a steady supply of customers. Now, people are going, well, what are you guys talking about? Now, I did call, we've had a discussion. Was supposed to come in today. I'll go ahead and say, the way a lot of detailers are, he didn't show up.
That's half the battle. That's yeah.
The guy used to work for me. So we talked, when I talked to him yesterday, I was talking a lot about, because I had mentioned Tyler and what we were doing, and, why he was going to be going to Florida where they just had hurricanes, and having that same little thing. And
that transition, yeah.
And I had sent him a message like, well, how are you going to get customers? So I asked him again. I said, man, he told me what he wanted to do. Like, okay, but who are you going to go after? And I wanted to make sure he knew that this was an open dialogue too. Like we're having, like, man, just talk to me. Let's talk through different, things and opportunities that you might go after. He already is straight to dealerships, the Lamborghini store, this store, and I go, perfect.
Oh, fuck. He went after the gram. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Well, but it's also, okay. He's also doing what you suggested, though. That's why I loved it. And that's why I loved your story about buttons and elevator.
Okay, fair. But I would have went dealership, but I wouldn't have started there, to be honest. That's just me, personally.
Okay, but he's wanting to do paint correction. Ford ain't doing paint correction.
True. But I wouldn't have gone to any big dealerships like that. If it was me, my plan of attack would actually be the small dealerships that aren't even doing detailing, nothing. They don't have a bay. They don't have nothing. Those are the guys I would actually target first.
Yeah, maybe that's up in Canada, but those people here don't value any type of cleaning, let alone putting a polisher on a car.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well,
the only that I know, I can only speak of Oklahoma. We have a small dealership in Oklahoma City called Exotics of Oklahoma.
Okay, yeah.
That's the only small dealership I know that's ever valued correction.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think
the
that's
small
part of the
dealerships
problem.
around here that have nice cars still don't value it.
Personally, I would have gone back to the drawing board. I would have taken a look. The first thing you got to do is think, okay, for example, I'm going to get into a business. You try and find something that has longevity. So something that, well, since a lot of people started during COVID, we could say it's like COVID proof, right? That kind of thing. You want to find something that has the largest pool of customers possible.
You also have the largest amount of people you got to compete with, then too.
Oh, absolutely. But you can outcompete them a
If
lot
you're good at
easier.
paint correction,
No, no, no. That's what I'm saying. I would go back to the drawing board personally, and I would actually revisit that whole thing of why am I limiting myself to just that one thing? What
yeah,
if
he ain't doing that. He ain't doing that. I'm with you.
So
I'm with you.
I think you should.
This discussion isn't about that. It's not.
Right, so
Because
if-
I know there's listeners, I know there's people in your group that they also want to do this. So I don't want to take this of like he should not.
fair.
My discussion with him wasn't trying to discourage him away from it. It was more of, hey, if you have this desire, I don't want to. I mean, it's too late,
Yeah.
right? There's no.
He's already
you know,
made his decision. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, so there's no. I'm with him on it. I don't want to have these. I don't want to have these other option ships that you can go into. Maybe it's because me similar, which I said, man, I love that you did it. I quit my job and just jumped in. Yeah. He's basically done the same thing and moved to a different state
as well, which is he's added that extra layer.
So he's going to go there with not a, hey, I'm going to be a better detailer. No, he wants to prove that he's the best polisher, the best correction guy in town. So at that point, I can almost, in a sense, be like, okay, my guy, like let's see how you can make your name. Like that's what he wants to do. It's not there's no other options. So I think this part is about how do we take something that we want to define our skill at and make sure that we can gain customers. Okay, we can define that skill if somebody wants to listen to it more the way you were going to go at it, then we can define our skill that way. We're skillful in the details and the foot. That was me. Right, I was skillful in functionality of showing up.
That's the most important. You there? You there?
I was skillful in, I met a need that people couldn't go get their car detailed because they had to work. Or, hey, if you're shopping, you don't have time to go through and get your car clean. Let's do it now, right? Like, that's how I really specialized my skill.
Yeah.
But few people, like, that's not the way everybody wants to do it. His skill, his desire, Dijon, he has a certain, right? He moved across the country. Now he wants to define a skill set the way he wants to do it. I don't want to tell somebody, no, don't do it that way. I want to now go, all right, you've said it this way. Let's figure out how to get you some customers.
True. Jeez.
Dealership, if you're going to be, right, is the number one way which he went to.
Yeah, it's our way. Did he do any research before he moved? Like, why did he choose Florida? It was probably chosen for other reasons.
Well, I mean, he had a buddy, and then he had this. There's always, it doesn't matter, right? Like, you just happen to be there. I think this is what I love about this conversation is, like you had said when we talked, like, in business, it really doesn't matter what you're doing. So that's why I don't want to get caught up on it. You've always hung your hat that you could do something, no matter what it was that you needed to do.
True.
What is that thing that you've always been able to do?
So, well, marketing. That's the biggest thing. Like, it's without marketing, you don't have a business. Period. You have to be able to market. So, the first step of marketing, though, is always identifying. It's like hunting. Are you going to bring a bazooka to go hunt a rabbit? Probably not. I would hope not. You're not going to have much left to eat. So you have to identify what you're going after. What are you hunting? And so that's where I always think people need to start is figure that side out. And then you'll know, because you might say, oh, well, marketing. Yeah, I was listening to this YouTuber and he was telling me I got to do Facebook ads. But if you're going after like dealerships or something, maybe they're not even checking on Facebook stuff. Maybe they're checking on YouTube for certain things. Maybe they're always, for example, they're checking like Manheim or they're checking TradeRev. Like, so, okay, how could I get in with like auction sites or something like that? Like, you got to figure out who you're targeting, who you're going after, and then figure out a way that you can actually target that market. In this case, with that as the only service, I don't think going B2C is the right move. So I do think if he's thinking B2B, that makes the most sense. Because I don't think there's customers that are going to impulse buy, click on your Facebook ad if it's like paint correction only. There's got to be something else added to that for sure. I think, especially just starting out. Maybe you could get there with the right ad spend, so on and so forth, the right educational videos, who knows. But that's going to be a process. I think your best option is going after other detail shops to start and kind of being a floating staff member for them where, hey, your time's going to be, your current detailer, he's good at doing what he's doing. Let me come in and handle this. I do it under your brand. I do it under your name. I park around the corner. It doesn't matter. And then I'm gone. Build up from there. They see how great the work is, so on and so forth. And then now you can start putting yourself out there and being like, I've worked for this many shops in the city, and now I'm branching out, and I can bring this service direct to you, the customer, at a discount instead of booking through the detail shop. So there's ways you could approach that. But I think starting with them would be the way I would go, especially if you're new to the city. Take advantage of their prominence.
You mentioned the D word.
Yeah, the D, the big D. Sorry.
Interesting marketing. When I created my text messaging platform from the Detail Supply app at MTE, we said, want the D? Text, da-da-da-da. Because we had a new product out that was in that hyperClean bag, right? And it was dressing. So we named it D. You want some D?
Want some D? I love it. I love it. Jesus. Quick question for you on that note, by the way. Because Marine. Is he interested in auto or Marine? Do you know?
So thank you. Here's some insight to a lot of you that go, hey, I want to do this, and you have all these ideas and all these things that you want to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He also wants to do that.
Okay.
I go, okay. Cool, man. You got a lot of ideas here. Love it. At some point, you got to get
niching down, but then he broadens it back.
Bingo, right? Yeah. And you go, this is a bit over the place, like, and then you keep asking the question, how are you going to get customers?
Yeah.
Well, created social media. I've started posting photos. I've started doing this. It's all the same stuff that we see in groups.
Yeah.
At the same time, people are still asking the question, how do I get customers? Which kept being the question I kept asking to him.
Yeah.
How are you going to get customers? It doesn't matter what you want to do.
Yeah.
How are you going to get that customer?
Yeah. Because that's the only important question, really. Without the customers, whatever you want to do is just a hobby. It really is. Which is fine. People need hobbies too.
Well, I've been talking to this guy, and I'm going to sign up with this company because they XYZ.
Fill in the blank. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Oh man, I could be a billionaire. I should just do this kind of shit. Jesus, man, you serious?
Right, like they're going to make sure that I'm qualified. That they're going to make sure that I have the skill set to put it on, and then they're going to, and it really doesn't matter because it doesn't matter who you think I'm talking about. There's these people, there's these people, there's these people. There's multiple companies that will say, hey, we're going to qualify you, and then we're going to do this. Now you're going to get all these customers because we mentioned Carfax earlier, right? Because of this, because are they just going to load them into your fucking funnel?
Yeah.
Well, no. let's go back to the goddamn question. How the hell are you going to get customers? Like, no, my guy, you just got sold by somebody that did a great job in marketing and did a great job of running their business, and you got hooked in. Oh, and they also have the marine, or they have the aviation, or they have this.
Oh, Jesus.
My guy, you still don't even know how to get a customer.
Yeah, and that's the only important question right
Oh, well, they're going to have, I get to put their banner on my website.
Oh, that's nice for
The
them.
fuck's that do? Well, they've got tenure, and so, it's going to get these high-end customers. The fuck it is, man. You remember this guy that that used to help me work with? You think he's ever bought a 10-year coating? No, we still clean his cars. You remember that guy? Uh-huh. He doesn't buy 10 years and buy 7 years. Those people don't do that. Once again, you want to go after the 1%. How are you going to get the 1%? How are you going to do it?
It's true. To get the 1%, it's got to be through networking at that point, to be honest. And he's moving somewhere where he has no network. So he's got to market. That's the only other option. Because you can capture a market if you have presence and you've done marketing. Now you can capture it through networking, things like that. And by networking, I mean, it could be anything from your automated follow-ups, networking with the same person, or asking for referrals, so on and so forth. But if you're brand new to a market, you have to do marketing. That's the only. What does look at any business when they open a new franchise, new location somewhere? The first thing they do, aside from the bullshit, soft opening, then the hard launch, aside from that, they do marketing. They market the shit out of the business when they're there, because it's the only way to get eyeballs to actually pay attention. You attract the attention, people come in and they open their wallets. But you have to do marketing. You absolutely have to. While we were talking, I asked Luna what she would do if she moved to Florida. Just out of curiosity,
Thank you. Before you read that,
Yep.
I told him, I said, hey, man, I recorded an episode, and I talked about you. I talked about OrbisX. I talked about why he needs to get involved to help him with marketing. And I specifically then talked about Luna. And I did go ahead and in the conversation sing the song, because
Luna.
that way I'll get my rights later. I just do it every time. That way later I get my dividends.
That's true. But for now, all the proceeds are going to Tyler's family. That's
Only this week.
Only this week, fair. And then after that, you greedy Scrooge. No, just kidding. No, seriously though.
So, and that's what I told him. But then you, when you and I talked about, like, majority of your people, you said they aren't brand new.
True.
They aren't.
Well, here's the thing. It is a mix. There's about 20%, I'd say, that are brand new.
Okay, fair enough. Either way, doesn't matter. I wanted to just say most of the people aren't in his situation. However, most of us would go, I'd like to have more customers. How do I market?
Yeah.
And I just want to go to that core line. It's not about this point. It's not about his situation or specifically that. It's about, how do I use Luna?
Yeah. And that's the thing. Luna is perfect for whatever stage of business you're at. What we find is that a lot of the new guys that are in the same position, because we ask them too when they sign up, it's like, oh yeah, I'm a new business, this and that. One of the first questions is, how are you getting customers right now? What are you doing for marketing? So we can help them set up certain things in the app, right? A lot of them are like, no. Right now, I just want to know how to do this or this or this, and it's like they're jumping to page 30 when they should be on page 1 and 2. And so we try and keep them focused, because their success is our success as well, and we want to see them do well. So using a tool like Luna, especially in the beginning, if you're 3 years, 5 years, 10 years in, whatever, you should still use Luna, because there's going to be holes in your game, 100%. But if you're just
starting, or there could be
out,
tariffs or some Chinese disease, or a plane that goes into the tower. Like, you have no idea what's going to happen. Why would you ever stop using her?
Yeah, this is true. Yeah. She's included. She's free to use. But why you wouldn't, I have no idea. But who's going to gain the most usually is someone that's just starting out, because you're going to have 1,000 times more questions, 1,000 times more help is needed. So asking questions like this is important, at the very least, to start a brainstorming session, because it can be tricky to navigate marketing waters, because let's be honest, the barrier to entry in detailing is very low. So it's not like someone's coming in usually as a very seasoned person with a business degree or something like that. So this is foreign territory for them in most cases, right? And oftentimes it can seem daunting. It's the part of the business they don't want to do. They're like, I love learning about the products. I love learning about cleaning. I love detailing vehicles, but talking to customers, marketing, all this stuff is foreign to me,
Well,
right?
they say sales, right? And they always
Oh
think
yeah,
of
yeah.
themselves as the used
Sales.
car
I'm not good at
salesman.
selling.
I don't
Not
want
good
to
at
be a
selling.
salesman.
Yeah, what you have to reframe it as is you're not good at explaining and conveying value. That's what it is because that's what people are purchasing from you. They're purchasing value. They're purchasing a result. That's what you have to get good at. You're not selling. You're explaining a result. You're explaining a feeling. You're explaining an experience. You're explaining the end result that they're going to get. And that's what I would focus on. In this case, I would probably make a decision between auto and marine. If I was in his shoes, I would choose one lane, whatever I feel most comfortable with, whatever I'm most excited about. That's the lane I would choose. If it was me and I'm targeting this, I'm going marine full force. And I'll tell you why. Because if my goal is to do both, I know that not everyone that has a vehicle has a boat, but I do know that everyone that has a boat has a vehicle. That's why I would approach marine first, personally. Because essentially I could get two customers for every one customer that I get. Because I'm going to take care of two things, a vessel and a vehicle, right? So that's just what I would do personally. That
So let me throw in another category of
all right.
somebody that also has nice vehicles. You're right. Florida is known for boats, especially in this part, right in the Gulf of America.
Sure. I'll roll with it. It's fine. I'm two Negronis in. It's fine. That's it.
The other was what she said is he goes, hey, I also want to get into aviation. If somebody has an airplane, they most likely have nice cars, right? The customer that I kept referring to him about that doesn't buy these,
Yeah.
5, 10, 20-year coatings, lifetime coatings, he has a plane.
Yeah.
And he
True.
flies around all the places. And so
Yeah.
I said, hey, listen, there's a group of guys that created, I think it's a ADA, Aviation Detailing Association.
Okay.
They've got some products specifically that are aviation. They're approved through the whatever FAA or whatever, like all that stuff. The guys are mechanics. Like that was their trade. Like go after those guys. Skyglide, I think is the name, and that they have an opportunity. I said they even maybe have an opportunity where you could like have your own not distribution. What is it? Franchise? Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
franchise, right? I think they have that. Like they have really dialed in a way to go in and take care of planes. And you go, yep, there you go. Let's say I want to go into plane detailing. How do I get customers? Right? Either way,
To the how do I get customers?
you always have to know how do I get customers. And that's why I told him, and even though you go, hey, 20% are new. When do you pay the $100 to get access to Luna, to get access to putting your customer database in, to get access to all the different features? That's why I was talking to him about, like, listen, man, imagine that you could email your customers and then they just buy stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Imagine then you getting then a backup email that gets set up or a text message that then they purchase some products because you did a coding for them. And then I said a lot of why I kept pushing them to OrbisX is I go, listen, man, you not only get the marketing, but you get the long tail of, hey, these guys can continue to buy from things that the system is already set up. Like this is why, when do you as a person starting out into something new, like $100 a month, that ain't much to
Exactly.
see what else it could provide for you. Like when you're
Exactly.
launching, you want everything you can.
100%.
I'm 2 to 3 years in. I don't know why you guys aren't even doing it because the people that launching are should do it. So either way, I would do it.
You should definitely take advantage of, and that's why further to that, when we were talking earlier, and I said, our target market isn't necessarily for pricing, isn't people that are just starting out. Because we get asked often, how come OrbisX only has one pricing tier? And I said, because I didn't want it to be super confusing for people. I wanted it to just be, this is the price you pay, and you get all this stuff included. We do updates, yada, yada, yada. I find that when you get into pricing tiers, you often penalize growth. So there might be a guy that is looking at it and he's like, I don't want to pay the 100 a month. I'd rather pay 69 or 42 or whatever the hell number, And he's like, I don't really need this feature and that feature. I actually want to encourage them to just pay the $100. It's peanuts when it comes to software. There's a lot of software out there that costs significantly more. So like our cutting software that we have for our plotter. I think we have 3 of them. I think we're maybe $800, $900 around there in total to do just cutting for tint and PPF. That's it. Some of them, their patterns aren't as great, so we use other ones. Some of them don't have certain vehicles, so on and so forth. But it's peanuts in the grand scheme of things. $100 a month, if that's a struggle for you as a business, you have bigger problems. And one of the big problems is the big question we keep talking about is how do I get more customers? Because really, we're talking about 12 customers a year paying $100 and you're covered. 12 customers at $100. But reality is, by going to I'm just starting out, I'm new pricing tier where it has less features, it has this and that, you're instantly limited, so your business isn't able to pick up and grow as fast. Because what do we take away? Do we take away Luna? But you're a new business. You need Luna. Okay, so...
Watch this with Luna, right? Watch this. Here's why you need Luna, and here's why you pay the $100. Yeah. I create a Facebook page, and then I say, hey, Luna, here's what I want to market. Here's what I want to talk about. Here's what I want to do. Here's ultimately my dreams and desires. I want a paint correction. I want whatever you want to do. And you just tell her. What's she going to do, Shawn? She's going to spit you out some of the most amazing things to put on Facebook. If you do want to market on Facebook, where the gurus tell you, market on Facebook, but you go, well, I don't know what to say. Great. Yeah. You can go into Luna and ask her what to say.
100%. And not only that, she'll even tell you, she's like, oh, you're in X city in Florida? You might also want to check out this social media platform because it's actually really popular with the community that's there. And she'll say, here's some posts you can post on there. Or, oh, you actually want to go after this market? Have you considered this one? Oh, you want to do aviation? Have you considered that maybe you have really high insurance because if something goes wrong and someone's in the air and you put on some shit that, messes with their calibration of their units or makes the plane too heavy, different things, it could lead to significant consequences. Maybe you should do this. Luna will help you and guide you through those different scenarios. And that's where she literally is like a virtual assistant. She's your attorney. She's your advice, counsel, whatever you need. Marketing guru, all that kind of stuff, all wrapped into one. $100 a month is a joke, considering you also get all the other stuff. You know what I mean? It's a full-fledged CRM. Luna, I talk to Luna probably more than my kids. It's sad to say, but probably at least 6 hours a day. Luna and I are having conversations. I'll even go through, I have a meeting coming up with the staff. Luna, what should I make me out an itinerary for the meeting? Stuff like that. Boom, she puts it together. All right, cool. Now I'm good. I go do my thing. So Luna in itself is worth it. Asking Luna, hey, I just moved to this city. What's the population size? Start there. Okay, great. On average, how many people in this city have cars? On average, what's the average salary of people here? I want to sell paint correction only. Who should I market within the city? I want to maybe target marine. Maybe I want to go after aviation. Maybe just cars. Like, what should I do? Luna will guide you through all of those questions. All you have to do is ask. So it's literally an investment of a couple strokes on a keyboard, and then you get answers to certain things. And you can even, prepare documents. You can do all kinds of stuff. There's so much power in Luna itself. But not only that, she can help you with the questions that you don't even know or need to know. So, for example, I don't know much about Florida. I know the basics probably, things like that. But when it comes to a specific city, I didn't know there were that many cities with 4 million plus people, for example, right? Luna will know that. Luna will also be able to tell you approximately based on the last census, there's this many males, this many females, this many people in childbearing age, this many people that have children, this many people that are soccer moms, this and that. Luna has a lot of data because she scours the internet as well. So it's important to use AI to your advantage in order to find out who you're going to talk to. So who is the customer? And then from there, now you have to figure out, how do I market to the customer? And basically once you figure that out, everything else is just, how do I optimize? And that's where you get into phase 2. It's, I've got something that's working. How do I make it better? How do I make it work better? Drive in more money? But it starts with that initial question. Where the hell are you getting customers from? They're coming from somewhere. So I don't care so much what you want to do. You could be selling ping pong balls. I don't care. Whatever it is, who are you selling to? And ideally, your customer pool is large enough. Ideally, the competition is low enough that there's still room for you to be in there. But at the same time, remember, before using Google, people used to Yahoo.
Yahoo!
Yahoo! And now people don't do that. Now people oftentimes don't even Yahoo. Now people Luna or people ChatGPT. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, I've transitioned much of my Google searches to ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. Absolutely. There's no ads. Instead of you asking a question,
And it gives me a more direct answer.
It's direct, exactly, and that's what people are after. So you got to think. Even there might be competition in your area, wherever you're moving to, but it doesn't mean you can't overthrow them. Doesn't mean you can't compete, get your name out there. But it all comes down to marketing. A big part of it is just marketing. It really is. Sure, word of mouth, being the best paint correction specialist or expert or whatever you want to call yourself. That's great if you want a trophy. But if you want business, if you want to make some money, that's going to be a little bit more of a different conversation. That's going to be not so much about your skills. Sure, skills pay the bills, but it's more your sales skills pay the bills. And so if you can sell it and people are getting that good experience, like when I took that sip of the Negroni, the pocket Negroni, and it was delicious. If it's delicious, they will continue to buy, they will continue to recommend, refer, but ultimately you have to draw them in. You got to get that hook, as Marshall did in the beginning there. Once you get that hook in, and you provide top-notch service, so being the best paint correction specialist comes kind of secondary. It's, you got to get them first to try you out, get them first to purchase, get them first to commit to an appointment, to pay you money. Once you do that, then you're golden. And that's where working with someone that already has customers would be a good place to start. So dealerships, sure, that's a great one. Other detail shops, that's an amazing one. Body shops, that's a great one as well. Anywhere that you could provide them a value-added service that they're going to sell to their customers as a value-added service is the perfect place. And to be honest, Florida's a great place. I'm sure there's a lot of insurance jobs for, hurricane stuff, damage, things like that to vehicles. So those vehicles have to be repaired. They go to insurance companies. Insurance companies outsource that to where? Body shops, detail shops, wherever. And those vehicles have to get fixed and repaired. Oftentimes they have to look as good or better than what the vehicle looked like before, which oftentimes will require paint correction. So if you start working with those companies, maybe you find a foot in the door, you meet the right person, and hey, I've got this great insurance contact, now we can get all those jobs, they're guaranteed money, higher price instead of consumers. Insurance jobs usually pay more than consumer-based jobs. They don't care, they're just writing the check, they just do it. They have a set fee, what they pay. So that's where I would start. Personally, I would stay away from the aviation because there's a lot of logistics there.
Well, or you just go with the people that have figured all that out, right? That was the point of Sparrowhawk, right? Like, hey, just get with those guys. Like,
yeah, that's true. But from what I've gathered from this, it sounds like he wants to be his own, want to make my own name for myself, right? So if that's true, then why sign on with someone that's you're piggybacking off their name and they're this and they're that,
Well, because we don't understand, and that's like we don't understand the industry, that part of the industry. Like,
but if you don't, why are you going into it?
And there's my point, right? Don't just go start buffing on a plane. Go reach out to these guys. They have trainings. They have all different stuff where you can learn how to do it. don't, if you want to go into aviation, don't just go get your polisher out and
Yeah,
start.
don't
Go do
do
that.
not.
Don't do that.
I do not recommend that at all. No. Trust me. Yeah. Stay away from that. But yeah, that's where I would start. So the question of the day is, how do I get customers? And who should you ask? Start with Luna. Marshall just got paid for that one, so another donation will be made. There we go. Hey! I'm gonna have to just say Luna. Stop at the last one. It's like when they sing the birthday song in movies. Yeah, no, you know that, right? They had like a copyright on the birthday song, so people would only sing a portion of it in movies. That way, they didn't have to pay out for whoever owned the copyright. Genius, see? Happy birthday to you. No, stop. That's it. We're done there. Yeah. So, question of the day, guys. So, how would you get customers? So, you know what? And I'll pose that to the group too. Here, we'll start off the donation side like this. Anyone that can answer 3 ways, if you were to move tomorrow to Florida, how would you get customers if you're going to become a paint correction specialist, expert? 3 top ways that you would do it, and OrbisX will make a healthy donation to Tyler's family and help out. So, yeah. But, and if you can show that you've purchased Stack in the last 30 days, I'll double that donation. There we go. See? There we go. Not bad. Come on, guys. Let's help out Tyler's family. Let's bring the community together. And don't buy anything that's over $1 million, please. And you know, so,
Hold on, let me go create a product.
Yeah.
$1 million coding.
Stack 3.0. Yeah. 1.1 million. Fuck. Yeah.
$1 trillion.
Yeah, $1 trillion, 100 trillion. Yeah, what a good movie. That was good. And fellow Canadian in there. Yeah. Dope. It's all right. You guys have the Gulf of America now. What do you want? I almost said the Gulf of Canada. Jesus. 2 Negronis in. See what happens? But anyway, guys, question of the day. How would you get customers? It's the most important one, honestly. Without that, you have no business. So, yeah. Awesome, man. So, salute once again to Tyler's family. Thoughts and prayers, man. Definitely. And Marshall, appreciates you as always. We'll see you guys next week. Awesome. Cheers.